So this is a little drift trike that I've made from a bicycle. It's an 18-inch kids bike that I got for nothing. Um, and the back end is the remnants of the little cat car cart, or the drift cart that didn't really work very well. So the hoverboard wheel and the rear axle was taken from that. So anyway, and the seat is something I found at the side of the road with a big sign on it saying "Please take me if you want me," for nothing. So that's an Ikea seat with the swivel base that has just been decoupled. Right. So basically, what we've got is I've got two hoverboard wheels, which are in a piece of thick-walled pipe, which has got 6 bolts holding it in, so you can change the caster and the camber of the wheel if you need to, but I'm trying to make them as straight as I can. Now they're bolted to, on this side, 10-inch little trolley wheels. I think I got 4 of these for 16 quid or something. So those are 3.5 or 4.1 / 3.5 by 4. So it's a 10-inch outside diameter, and that's a sleeve that's off eBay. I think that was about 25 quid a pair. I think they're 230mm ID. They don't kind of sit perfectly. Don't think the light's going to work there, but they don't kind of sit perfectly, but you can square them up. I use a bit of pound shop spray wax just to be able to manipulate them, and you've got to let the pressure out, manipulate them a bit, put the pressure back in, see that they line up. They do work, they're okay. So the hoverboard wheel has just been drilled in 4 places, and these are 40mm studs with dome heads that push out from inside the rotor. So the way I did those is I spun the hoverboard wheel up and then got a bit of Tipp-Ex and a pencil and just drew the concentric circles so I could get the centering right. So then they bolted up okay. So that's the wheels. The batteries are my packs that I use on everything. So they're a modular pack with just an IEC outlet, a kettle lead sort of outlet. So they're 60 volts. And they're about 10 amp hours each. Doesn't really matter. This is a little bit overpowered, to be quite honest with you. But I've got these, so I might as well use them, and they can just clip off and go on my tandem or whatever else I've got to use. Controllers, 2 motors, so we got independent motors, so you need 2 controllers. They're 350 watt controllers, 60 volt controllers, just standard. And the cabling I've spliced with a double, so that we've got a single throttle, and then there's also a single brake. So you've got throttle and brake cables up the side. So the throttle is just a normal e-bike twist throttle, manual brake just on the front wheel. There's no throttle switch on that, so you can keep the throttle and that brake on, no problem if you want to go around. The rear brake is an electronic brake. To be honest, the braking force is abysmal, just because of the controllers, but you don't really need a back brake. If you're going really fast, then it will do something. At normal speeds, forget it. Anyway, so that's just a micro switch that's been made a little space in there, hot glued in, soldered on to the terminals, and then I've just put that extra bit of spring on there just to give a little bit of feel to it and to make sure it goes back in. Bizarrely, it's a rear wheel in a front wheel fork, but when I went to put the front wheel back in this, having took it apart some time ago, it didn't really fit, so the back wheel fitted nice, so that just went in. This is just, well, I might get a disc brake, but what's the point? So it'll just stay there or come off. And a couple of foot pegs. You can do with a mudguard on the back, save you wrecking your leg when you turn in, but you just stick your leg out, it's all good. The seat and the back end is all just welded up. I've just used I've kept the seat stay on. When I've cut the frame off, I've just taken the down tube off and taken the top tube off, and then I've left the seat, the chain stays on, to the top ones, and then the seat stays I've welded on as bracing. Now this was the wheelie bar off the drift cart, and it didn't have a little wheel here, so all I've done is I've turned it backwards and plugged this in, welded it up, and then welded this on underneath. It's not bad actually, it doesn't flex too much, and you don't get a lot of forces through this when it's spinning. There's no grip, so it's okay. The seat is just I've welded a plate from the top stay across and then drilled it in the centre, because it's just a centre bolt. And then I've just used a little bit of something what I had, silicone hose, which just gives a bit of friction so this thing doesn't turn at all. So it all works, just bolt it in, it's fine. So that's about it really. And then quite handily, this seat, which is an Ikea seat, if you actually wanted to buy one, but it just clips on and clips on the back. I don't know if I can do that with one hand or not, probably not. No, I can't do that with one hand, so forget that. But that just clips on, so you're kind of like lifting the bonnet. So yeah, it's independent, so one side on, the other side on, and if I stand in front, or if I leave the brake on, we got a whoop. There we go. Well, rip me legs off. There we are. Stand in front. So it's all good. There is a video somewhere of me spinning this round, but it's at the end of the day, it's a drift, just a drift trike, and it does about 25 mile an hour on the upper speed, on the 3-speed switch, which is too much. You just can't get it off the line because it just spins up. So I'll put it on the low speed mode, which gives you probably about 19 mile an hour. But to be honest, you don't. You know, we're using this around the park, so if you were using it on road and messing about, then yeah, sure, use the high speed. But nah, around the park, it's a bit too much, really. So there we are. I'll have to pop a little vid on of messing about with it, but that was a very brief of the build.